If you're a security awareness professional, October's probably your busiest month. Of course, it's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And just like last year, we've teamed up with Hunt for Cybersecurity Awareness Month and put together a series of short videos covering social engineering in messaging apps, the psychology behind social engineering, how AI is powering spear phishing, and how you can spot deepfakes. These videos form part of Hunt's toolkit, and each video is between 1 to 2 minutes long, making them perfect to share with friends, family, or your colleagues at work. You can check out more Awareness Month content at hoxhunt.com/CAM-toolkit, or follow Hunt on LinkedIn to keep up with the latest cyber trends. And if you'd like bespoke video content for your organisation, drop us a line at hello@riskycreative.com. We'd love to chat. And now, on with the show. You're tuned in to the Awareness Angle, the show where we cut through the cyber noise and get straight to what matters, the scams, the slip-ups, and the stories you actually need to know. All views are our own, not our employers. And I'm Ant Davis. As always, I'm here with Luke Pettigrew. Hello, Luke.
Hey, Ant. Hey, everyone.
How you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks, you.
I'm good. We're recording this on a Saturday morning. Normally we do it on a Thursday night, sometimes a Friday afternoon. Last week we did it Saturday morning and we kind of liked it. This week it's a little earlier, so our voices haven't quite woken up yet. So bear with us if we sound a little sleepy, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah. Quick reminder, please subscribe to our newsletter, riskycreative.com, or you can go to LinkedIn where most people get it and search for the Awareness Angle. Nearly 900 people get this every single week. It lands in your inbox on a Monday morning and it tells you everything that's in each episode of the podcast. So if you can't watch it, if you can't listen to it, you can read it. There you go. With something for everyone. And YouTube, please go to our YouTube channel at Risky Creative on YouTube and please subscribe. We want more subscribers. Every episode we do is posted there. We sometimes put some extra stuff on there as well. And at the moment we're posting SANS interviews from the SANS Summit that was in August. And I had a bit of a quiet week this week. I didn't post any this week because I had a really busy week and we'll get to that in a minute. But I've got a stack of really interesting ones, including some chats with some vendors this week. And they're really interesting in a very different way to that of the people that do security awareness. So, yes, get yourself to @RiskyCreative on YouTube. Right. Episode 53.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Right. Shall we get straight into the news?
Yeah, let's go for it. There's a lot to cover this week.
We've got a lot to cover this week. It's been a busy week in the world of cyber, but we'll keep them brief. We'll keep them interesting. So it would be wrong of us to not start with Jaguar Land Rover. This is the first few months of the year was talking about M&S and Co-op. Now let's talk about Jaguar Land Rover. Still impacted by the cyber attack that is costing reportedly millions of pounds a day and is causing economic disruption across the UK as their supply chain is increasingly impacted by this. It's mad. I think reports are now that they're not probably going to reopen. I think it's now a week or two. I think I read something yesterday that some systems are now back online. So I think they're starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
I think.
There's quite one that you don't really hear about with the suppliers being affected. It's not often that gets spoken about.
We often talk about suppliers being the cause.
Yeah.
Accessed via a third party is quite often, but no one thinks about the actual impact that comes from that, I think. And, you know, when you're a business like M&S, I mean, M&S suffered, so did Co-op, but they still had the tills ringing. You know, the food was still being delivered into stores, definitely in M&S's case. And then it was still going out the front door in the customer's hands. Jaguar Land Rover had to cease production. The production lines ground to a halt and the systems went down. You know, the tills were not ringing for a short while. So, and they're not still not ringing realistically. So, I think Jaguar Land Rover are big enough to bear the brunt of it. They had good profits last year, and whilst it's costing them money, they are reportedly, you know, financially stable enough to ride this out, but it's the supply chain that isn't. And the government in the UK are doing all kinds of things to support. There's talk of a furlough scheme and talk of the government now buying the parts and then selling them back to JLR. I think it really highlights how. Well, that's it. It highlights the impact that something like this can have. We've talked about knights of old and the smaller businesses that cease to exist. But some of these might be like, dad and son, mum and son factories that JLR are their only customer.
Yeah.
And they're having to put people that have worked for them making spigot rings for wheels for like 50 years, all of a sudden now, are not trading. So yeah, it's a terrible time. It's kind of the hidden impact, isn't it? It's the ripples from a cyber attack that people don't always think about.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I had an interesting conversation this week with someone actually about this, and they were asking about the ransom, and they were like, do they do it purely to get the ransom? And this is the problem, isn't it? Because it isn't just for the ransom and it isn't just for the data. I also saw a report that they said data had gone as well. Right. I don't know what data, but they do it because they can do it essentially for
clout and respect maybe online
for fun, for the challenge.
No, it's a lot of things happening at the minute.
The Jaguar Land Rover is ongoing. We won't carry on talking about it today. It's in the news pretty much every day at the moment. But yeah, they reckon £3.5 billion in revenue could be lost, which is £1.3 billion in profit. It's insane. Not all companies could ride that out.
No, definitely not.
No. Be interested to see what their cyber investment is after this. There was a report, I think, we've got it here, that apparently there's a report that they've got no cyber insurance. So they are going to have to bear the full brunt of that, reportedly.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what their security posture looks like in 6 months, a year, 18 months, I think.
Yeah. Cool.
Right, move on to the next one.
Yeah, so next one, another cyber attack that I'm sure everybody's been aware of around the world. And this is the ransomware attack around European airports. So yeah,
I WhatsApped this to you about an hour after we finished recording last week's episode. It broke just as we'd finished recording last week's episode.
Yeah,
so the timing was perfect.
So yeah, the EU cyber agency say that the airport software has been held to ransom by criminals, and yeah, so obviously several of the busiest airports have been affected. I think there's like Heathrow, Dublin, Berlin, Brussels, and probably a couple more. And supposedly it's targeting the Collins Aerospace's Muse check-in software. Obviously that's quite critical for flights to go ahead and stuff. And yeah, so somewhere around, I'm not quite sure if it's said how it has happened, but obviously the software has been targeted. And yeah, they say here that type of ransomware has been identified and law enforcement's involved to investigate, but it's not known who's behind it at the minute. But obviously, criminal gangs, various of them, use ransomware to disrupt their victims, demanding a ransom, typically in Bitcoin. And yeah, there's some talk around how staff have been having to do manual workarounds to board and check in passengers. Not too dissimilar from what we spoke about with M&S doing a lot of manual things, and a lot of other companies have to resort back to pen and paper. I think some of this has probably been sorted by now. This story is on 22nd of September, but it did say here around Heathrow on the previous weekend we're still working around to resolve the issue. A lot of flights got delayed, and urged passengers to check their flights before they travelled. But yeah, it's more disruption.
It has been claimed ransomware, and one of the highlights with one of the things coming out of this is when you have one supplier that covers lots of if there's one big leader in an industry and that one leader gets compromised, the impact on the infrastructure. And what they're saying is that this, because so many people relied on Collins Aerospace's solution for this, that gets compromised. And then the impact is huge. Similar to what we saw last year with CrowdStrike, right?
Yeah.
CrowdStrike, one vendor was affected. I mean, that wasn't ransomware. That was a rogue update. One update is deployed. One vendor is hit with a problem and everything goes down. But this is, cloud. I think yesterday I saw reports that there was a Cloudflare outage, and it affected a load of websites. These things happen when you get a leader in the field. It just, so diversifying, making everyone, I know there's monopolies and mergers where they don't let one person own a certain amount of industry. Google's a prime example with all their competition stuff that's going on in court. But it's, when you get someone that does something well and does something good, I don't think you should penalize them. And also they'd find a way to traverse. They'd just go to a different system, or these are all going to sing together at some point, because these airports need to talk to each other. Businesses need to talk to each other. So
yeah,
I did see, I was speaking to someone else this week at somewhere I was at, and they were telling me now that they make all of their, or they're moving to make all of their third-party suppliers complete their training.
Right.
So as an awareness person, my understanding from the conversation was that they're going to be asking their third-party suppliers to complete their training to bring them up to their speed, at least as far as knowledge is concerned. So they've identified third-party risk, and that's what they've done as one way to try and perhaps mitigate that. So that's interesting, I think. I don't know anyone else. I don't know anyone else that does that.
No, yeah.
Some companies have many suppliers.
No, it's quite a strange one. I mean, this would be a week ago now, but there was a statement on Monday where they said that they're in the final stages of completing necessary software updates. And then they say how they had to rebuild systems and relaunched them to only realize hackers were still logged into the, still inside the system. And then there's also like a note around Collins told staff not to turn off computers or log out of the used software if they were logged in. It's really strange, but the company's declined to comment on this memo. So, yeah.
There is the fear that if you turn it off, will it turn back on again? So that could be one thing. And also, if you turn it off, you might not be able to find where the problem is.
Yeah.
Jaguar Land Rover were compromised earlier this year. This is their second cyber attack of the year. And I do wonder whether access was kept. I wonder if on the original attack, they'd left a backdoor in. This is the thing as well. You see, once you've been done once, there's a very good chance you will get done again. Don't think, it's been our turn. Now they've moved on to someone else. They can always leave a backdoor or still just retain access in a different way that you haven't detected.
Yeah.
Another person said to me this week, wouldn't you know they were in there? Wouldn't you know if someone was in your system? And I said, the average time between gaining entry to a company's systems and being detected is about 200 plus days. It's huge. They just sit there, they watch, they monitor, they might sell the access. So yeah, it's terrifying really. You don't know who's there. It's a safe bet. We had that a while ago, didn't we? Was it the US military that basically said, assume that they're in?
Yeah.
Was that one of the stories we had, wasn't it? Yeah, just assume that they're in already. So it's okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Right. I'll move on to the next one. It's slightly political, but this isn't a political story as such. The UK, so I don't know why everything is now Sakir Starmer. The UK government are planning to introduce a compulsory UK-wide digital identity scheme. They believe it will help crack down on illegal working and modernise the state, according to senior figures in government. So my immediate thought went to, they've done such a good job with the Online Safety Act. This is going to be disastrous. But The third paragraph of this article on BBC News says the practicalities of the scheme will be subject to a consultation, which will also look to how to make it work for those without a smartphone or passport. So I thought that was quite interesting. Like, they're not just rolling this out. They're going to consult. I still don't have confidence that it will be the best solution. The Labour government tried to do this previously, but they were blocked when they lost power and the Conservative Liberal Democrats came in. So this has long been a solution that they've had. So he said that we all carry a lot more digital ID now than we did 20 years ago. And I think psychologically it plays a different part. Done well, I don't know if I hate this. So I did read that Estonia have done this.
Yeah, I think there's a few countries like Denmark and a lot of places already have similar things, and Australia and Canada, I think, maybe something like that.
I was so I've been to a couple of things this week, which is why I've had lots of conversations. Someone else I spoke to was asking me about digital identity and about being like, fundamentally, is that the answer to many of our problems? And there's tools like Beyond Identity out there, which claim to be like unphishable MFA or phishing resistant MFA that kind of tie in with your smartphone and kind of are like a hybrid pass key solution.
Right.
So I do wonder whether this is pass keys in a different design with smartphones, whatever. It's who has access to the data. Data privacy people are going to hate this because they're going to say the government's spying on them. I think there is a way that this can be done well. They just really need to sell the benefits.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, the security awareness job recently was going in the House of Commons. And the government, there was I think a security awareness advisor role reporting into senior government figures.
Yeah.
So that would be an interesting role right now with all of this bubbling around.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of, at least in the UK, a lot of the UK gov stuff is all going digital anyway. Like, you have all your different government apps for like taxes and NHS app, obviously, for those sorts of things. So it's not exactly anything new.
No. We're kind of halfway there already. So with the solutions you've said, there's kind of there with the .gov stuff that's crept out anyway. I've actually just found they've already published, there's a guidance document that was published yesterday called Digital ID Scheme Explainer. The rollout will in time make it easier to apply for government and private sector services, such as helping renters to prove their identity to landlords, improving access to welfare and other benefits, and making it easier for parents to apply for free childcare. There's 3 hot potatoes in politics right now that they're addressing. I'm sure they wouldn't have been the first 3 that came to mind. The data that will be held will include name, date of birth, information on nationality or residency status, and a photo for biometric security, like an e-visa or a passport. The consultation they're planning to do will consider if any additional information like address would be helpful to include. So we'll put a link to that in the newsletter, which you can subscribe to at riskycreative.com or by searching the awareness angle on LinkedIn. So yeah, it's timely that they've got this up there with lots of FAQs and everything like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Move on to the next one.
Right, move on to the next one, sir.
Yeah, so this one almost follows into a similar theme, slightly differently and a slightly different concern, I guess. So this news story on BBC, nursery hackers threaten to publish more children's profiles. And so, yeah, hackers calling themselves Radiant have breached the kiddo nursery chain. And they've, basically stolen profiles of children, parents and staff. And they've already started to publish children's information. They're pressuring for a ransom to be paid. So authorities and the police are investigating. Kiddo say that the breach was stems from a data hosted on the family software platform, although that family company has denied the systems were compromised. and the criminals have admitted that they're motivated purely by money, and have received a lot of backlash for targeting a children's nursery. And obviously, this includes pictures and private data of these children and their family, and they've already started posting profiles online. I think they did, it says here they posted 10 profiles on Thursday and a further 10 on Friday. Posted private data of employees, names, addresses, insurance numbers. It's quite a scary one.
Yeah.
It's almost like out of a film plot or something. It's a bit of you don't really hear of children being targeted in a ransomware kind of scenario. All their information on the dark web.
We've said it before. We'll say it again. They just don't care. If it's there, they'll take it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't care if it's kids or medical records or animals or, look at this. Was it Synovis, the blood testing, the pathological services that affected like hospital services? They do not care.
Yeah.
And these aren't always kids. All you ever hear about is kids getting arrested. Maybe that's because they're the ones stupid enough to get arrested. I don't know. But it's not always kids, right? These are, they don't care. They'll just do it. So,
yeah,
it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, no, we'll see what happens on this one.
Yeah.
I think they refused to pay the ransom, and I think they've got a lot of support not to pay it, but obviously people are getting their data put out there. It's obviously distressing for
at some point,
everybody.
If the government get their way, it will be illegal for them to pay the ransomware. So what happens then? They just sell the data. That's another conversation to have, a completely different topic. But if if you can't pay the ransomware, that's not going to stop this. It just means that they'll monetize the data in a different way, or the price will go up.
Yeah.
So
we'll see how this one develops.
Similar. The next story tonight is how cyber criminals are going after law firms' sensitive client data. So this is an article that we saw this week on HelpNet Security. But it doesn't matter how big the law firm is. All law firms hold valuable data, communications, financial records, legal strategies, and cyber criminals are now targeting law firms more than ever by exploiting vulnerabilities, weak passwords, outdated systems, and untrained staff. I get this completely, right? Being someone that's just bought a house here in the UK, and this is no disrespect to my lawyer, who is my solicitor who handled the sale. She's lovely. But I question the security posture of some of these law firms that are involved in these processes. It's when I look at it, the problems criminals exploit the most are weak passwords and access controls, shared accounts. I've seen evidence of that. Simple passwords, don't know, and a lack of 2FA, making unauthorized access easier. Outdated systems, unpatched systems and programs have known vulnerabilities that attackers can exploit. I used to do IT support for a small accountancy firm 15 years ago, and the systems they ran 15 years ago were probably 15 years old then. Like, I was shocked. I was having to use technology I hadn't used in a while.
Yeah. So I imagine most of them are going to be on Windows 10, and we all know that is end of life, although I think there was some recent change on that. But yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me if you saw some Windows 7 in these spaces, maybe even older. Who knows? One of the big things, I think, for me, the presentation I did at a company a few weeks ago was about the contents of a mailbox, right? And what's in your mailbox. It's normalized that I have to email my identity to my solicitor. I have to email all of my legal details and all of my birth certificate,
contracts flying around as well.
Can you imagine in the inbox of a solicitor or a lawyer, the amount of personal information that would be in there? Bank account details, financial records, ID, credit reports, property information. It's like crown jewels type stuff for people. Some of these firms now use third-party services as well. So those third-party services will also scoop up some data. Those third-party services will also be integrated into the law firms. And let's be honest, this isn't just law firms. This isn't a slate of law firms, but there's other businesses that are probably very similar. So it's, there's, according to Proton, 20% of law firms experienced a cyber attack in the past year, and 39% of those led to data loss or exposure. In 2024, Oric, Harrington and Sutcliffe paid $8 million to settle a class action lawsuit after a March 2023 breach. Hackers had accessed names, addresses, birth dates, social security numbers of over 600,000 people. This is my concern with these people signing up to these compensation claims for like M&S and JLR breaches, you know, that we've spoken about before as well. You don't know where the data goes and it changes hands so many times. Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, if you work in a law firm or you know someone that works in a law firm, it would be really interesting to understand the state of play. I imagine the big law firms have got this all sorted, but the high street lawyers that have like 3 or 4 solicitors working there, or you know, have a small team and a family run business that's been there for 30, 40 years. They're the ones I think that have probably got a bit of a digital transformation. They've probably got we need to get all this data coming in, but the security posture of these probably needs a bit of a shake up, I would imagine.
Yeah, most likely.
It's interesting. Small businesses are probably most at risk at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Next one, sir.
Yeah, so the next one, I think we spoke about it last week. The shy allowed worm on NPM packages. So yeah, this one is where GitHub are now stepping up security on NPMs after this recent surge in attacks on them. So yeah, recently there's been over 500 compromised NPM packages, and yeah, GitHub are now taking some action to start securing this. So they've removed over 500 packages, and then they've also blocked NPM have blocked upload of new packages containing malware with certain indicators of compromise. And yeah, they've now changed it so that you essentially have to take a bit more authentication, I guess, with those that are actually hosting these packages in GitHub. And so yeah, when you're now publishing any changes, which obviously is how these packages get hijacked and changes get made, and people are syncing up with all these things, and then obviously that starts propagating through the systems. You now have to have a 2FA required when you're publishing locally. They've changed some tokens with a more limited lifetime now. It says here 7 days. And they've also introduced what they've called trusted publishers for package repositories. And that's supposed to reduce the need for long-lived tokens or credentials to be shared with external systems. Quite a technical thing, but I guess it's good that they're actually making a change here, and we're not just going to keep seeing more compromised packages out there. There's a lot of deprecation on one-time passwords and migrating users to FIDO-based 2FA. And yeah, just try to really improve how their system works, really, because obviously, yeah, we've seen a lot in the last couple months. There's been packages being compromised and hundreds of potential NPM packages that are causing a risk, I guess.
There's an interesting line on this blog post that they've published that says, "We recognize that some of the security changes we are making may require updates to your workflows. We're going to roll these changes out gradually to ensure we minimize disruption while strengthening the security posture of NPM. We're committed to supporting you through this transition and will provide future updates with clear timelines, documentation, migration guides, and support channels." And there's that battle between we have thousands of users that work in a specific way. They're going to hate this.
Mm-hmm.
And then we really need to do something about this because this is getting traction and it's not good and it's a gaping hole. And this is that whole change management piece. I have conversations about that regularly, greasing the wheels of disruption.
Mm-hmm.
So we acknowledge that's the way they frame that is lovely. It's like, we hear you that this is going to cause some pain. So we're going to do it slowly, but we have to do it essentially, which is an important message.
Yeah. I don't think there's much more to add in that one.
No, links to all these stories obviously are in the newsletter. So if you do want to read more on that, you can get the full GitHub blog post in the newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The last news item we have for this week, this is something that comes from the Register. And this shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, but nearly half of businesses suffer deep fake phone calls against staff. I'm not sure I believe that. A survey of cybersecurity bosses has shown that 62% reported attacks on their staff using AI over the last year, either by the use of prompt injection attacks or faking out their systems using phony audio or video generated by AI. So it says the most common attack vector is deepfake audio calls, with 44% of businesses reporting at least one instance of this happening, 6% of which resulted in business interruption, financial loss, or intellectual property loss.
Mm.
Those loss rates drop 2% when an audio screening service is used.
Mm.
For video deepfakes, the figure was slightly lower, 36%. So 36% of businesses report video deepfakes.
Right. It's a lot.
It's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot. But this comes from Gartner.
Mm.
I wonder if someone paid for the research because it sounds quite high. I mean, someone, if I've got this wrong and you know firsthand that this is the case, then please email me and at riskycreative.com. Let's have a chat about it. But the video, like audio deepfakes, I kind of get, but deepfake, like, let's clarify here what we're calling a deepfake, right? Is this just an AI audio call pretending to be WhatsApp, for example? Is this the call where, please add me to WhatsApp, I'd like to talk to you about a job offer, in a really bad AI voice? Or is this someone actually that's voice cloned an individual? I think to me, this sounds like the word deepfakes being muddied into AI voice. This is just, it could just be phishing, voice phishing, using an AI voice. It's, yeah.
There's obviously platforms out there that are making it easier every day. It's always improving them. But obviously, in a lot of cases, it costs money to create these things, but they probably get a lot of money in return to outweigh that.
Do you know, in this article, it says deepfake audio is getting too convincing and cheap. Chester Wisniewski, global field CISO of security biz Sophos, told the Register, with audio, you can kind of generate these calls in real time at this point. If it was your spouse, they could tell. But if it's just a coworker who you talk to occasionally, you pretty much can do that in real time now without much pause, which is a real challenge. He believes the audio deepfake figures could be underestimating the problem, but said the results were higher than he expected for video, as doing real-time video fake of a specific individual is incredibly expensive. Sophos have seen cases in which a scammer briefly runs a CEO or CFO video deepfake on a WhatsApp call before claiming connectivity issues, deleting the video feed and moving to text communication to carry on a social engineering attack.
It's a really interesting technique, that.
Clever way of doing it.
Yeah.
I was on a call yesterday I was on a call, audio call while driving. It was a Teams call and I turned off the incoming video. I wasn't watching it. It was in the center console, but the call kept dropping out. So I turned off the video. Like, that happens when your reception's bad, you switch to voice only. Look, I think this report, and I haven't read the full report from Gartner. But to me, this just sounds like AI voice rather than cloned voice. Where would we produce a podcast every week and we're out there? Where would the average individual's voice be captured enough to clone it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It probably is a mix of, like you said, just a generic voice. They probably can profile someone quite well, and then just if you don't speak to them much or at all, you're not going to know, right? So yeah, I think like you said, it's a bit of a mix up maybe with the term deepfake, not necessarily always an actual clone. Maybe just AI generated voice.
Yeah,
but it's worrying.
Yes, it is. It is. I'll look back into this in a second. That's the last news story for this week.
Yeah.
Jumping into awareness now. I was at KnowBe4 hosted CyberSecure Leeds this past Wednesday. It was a KnowBe4 event at the Granary in Leeds, which is a small venue, but I've been there twice now and it's lovely. Someone commented to me that the audio in that room was great, and it's this lovely old granary building with it's got like arch ceiling, not that high, and literally wherever you are in the room, when someone talks, it sounds like they're mic'd up.
All right,
which is brilliant for kind of a small gathering. It was really good. There was a Javad Malik was there. He had a fireside chat with Paul, who's security engineer at Poundland, which are a chain of retail stores here in the UK. And then there was a panel discussion about AI and defending against AI between two experts from KnowBe4 and me. So lots of questions, lots of interest in that. And it was really, really good. So yeah, hi to everyone in Leeds. I gave out some stickers and some business cards and stuff, some of the Risky Creative podcast cards. So yeah, hi to everyone. Thanks for coming. It was really, really good. And thanks to KnowBe4 for having me. Thank you very much for the invite and letting me talk. The next bit of awareness I wanted to mention this week was that the SANS Security Awareness Summit, which is probably the largest gathering of awareness professionals in the world, 350 in person, 4,000 online. All of the talks from the SANS Security Awareness Summit 2025 are now available on YouTube. So all of the presentations are there. There's some really, really interesting presentations up there that cover a wide range of the things we do. If you work in security awareness, or you're responsible for communicating cybersecurity in a business, or just want to find out more, there's really good content there. Some highlights for me. There's one around the psychology of security culture that was hosted by Molly McLean Sterling from Proofpoint and Caitlin from Proofpoint. Molly's amazing. There was another really good one about storytelling, which I thought was really, really useful, referring back to Hans Christian Andersen, who I used to watch lots as a kid. So that was really interesting. And the keynote, and this is why I said it had come back in, the keynote was by Erin West from Operation Shamrock. And it was basically about nation state scams. And if you're only going to watch one video from this summit, this was the one that everybody talked about. This could be like a BBC Two documentary. Erin's amazing. The delivery was amazing. There was gasps. It was jaw-dropping, the information that was in this. This was the real shock value. So Erin talks about pig butcher, what used to be called pig butchering, what is now called romance scams, and how this is essentially a commercial operation at a nation state level. And there's video, there's photos, there's all kinds of thing in it. So it's really eye-opening. But this, they talk about essentially having farms. This is going to sound awful, but essentially it's having battery farming humans to do romance scams and lure people in. They don't need to do that in a new modern world because they can just use AI to replace all of these humans, and humans need water and food and stuff. And
yeah,
it's awesome. So yeah, if you're only going to watch one, watch Erin's, which is called Uncovering the Dark World of Nation-State Scams. But there's lots of good content in there. So really recommend that. The other thing is the rest of the videos from the Security Awareness Summit will be up this week on our YouTube channel. I'll be posting one a day. So the rest of the interviews, we've got some interviews with some vendors, like I said at the top of the show. So that'd be good.
Awesome.
Right. That's awareness. Hang on one second. It's too early in the morning and there's too much talking. I only had one more thing I wanted to mention this week, and this got me giddy with excitement. I was like, yes. You know, when you visit a website, pretty much any website, and then you're asked to accept cookies or deny cookies.
Yeah.
Well, that might be going away very soon. Praise the Lord. I remember an internet when that didn't happen. And essentially, 2009 EU law, there was a law passed by the EU that led to this cookie consent pop-up. And I think had they have known then the hell that they were unleashing on everyone, they'd probably have done it differently. But the European Commission is looking into this law. The law is called the e-privacy directive, or the e-privacy directive, wherever you are in the world. And this requires websites to request consent from users before loading cookies on your computer or mobile device. And cookies were introduced originally to simplify things for the user. So, for example, and if you don't know what cookies are the reason that you can stay logged in to a social media account without having to open it, without having to sign in every time you open the website. Cookies are also why you're able to put some stuff in your cart, go away, come back to your shopping site, and the stuff's still in your cart. So cookies are really useful, okay? Cookies are also used for tracking. So they track the usage of a user. So for an owner of a website, cookies are really useful to track where users are going, what they're engaging with, what bits are working and what bits aren't. But the directive was passed basically to protect users' privacy, as cookies can be used for marketing purposes or shared. People can sell your behavior data without your consent. So the European Commission is considering how to deal with the pop-up overload. They're thinking of adding additional exceptions to the existing law, or allowing users to set their consent preferences in advance. So in your browser, you can just say always allow or always deny. So this is really, really exciting news. I'm glad. I'm glad that cookie pop-ups will go away soon. You get a cookie pop-up, and then you get a newsletter sign-up pop-up, and then you get a special offer pop-up. And by that point, you don't want to shop at the site anymore.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm gone.
Often, you get somewhere and you just close it off because you can't bother to customize the cookies.
It's worth noting this article ends with it's important to note that EU law requiring cookie consent resulted in websites implementing the same pop-ups for users across the world. So what the EU decides here will essentially affect the world. So if you're not in the EU, I know we have listeners all over the world, but if you're not in the EU, you may be soon losing cookie consent questions as well.
Yeah.
So that's good. I think that's positive, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm excited by that.
Be good to be able to browse without constant pop-ups.
Won't it just? Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Did you have anything for this week? I think is that it?
Yeah, no, I didn't have anything this week.
We've covered a lot in this episode, I think, so I'm okay with that. Don't worry. I want to say just a quick shout out. Where have we got this week? Our top listeners are, according to one source, our top listeners this week are in Canada, Latvia, Lithuania, Romania, and Poland, and the UK, obviously. So if you're listening to us in Canada, Latvia, Lithuania, Romania, or Poland, hello. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Sign up for the newsletter if you don't already. Cool. Right. We'll be back next week. Same time. YouTube, podcast platforms, Spotify. You can watch us on Spotify, watch us on YouTube, or listen on all podcast platforms.
Mhm.
And get the newsletter and subscribe to us on LinkedIn, please.
And YouTube.
And YouTube. Oh, that's what I meant. I meant YouTube. Yeah. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Right. Excellent. See you again next week.
Oh, yeah. Catch you later. Cheers.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.